Wake Forest is one of the most misunderstood towns in the entire Triangle. And honestly, that can either work in your favor or become a mistake you regret after you move here. Most people lump it into the same category as every other Raleigh suburb, but Wake Forest has a completely different personality once you actually live here. And if you don't understand how this suburb is laid out before you buy, you could end up loving your house but hating your daily life. Our family and I moved here from Southern California 8 years ago, sight unseen. So trust me, we know exactly what it feels like trying to figure out the whole triangle from hundreds, or with us, thousands of miles away. In this video, I'm giving you the real Wake Forest in 2026. The good, the frustrating, the underrated, and the things most relocation videos completely skip over. And make sure you stick around until the end, because there's one major lifestyle shift happening in Wake Forest right now that will completely and quietly change who's moving here and why. One thing that shocks a lot of newcomers right away is this. Number one, Wake Forest University is not actually in Wake Forest. Most people assume Wake Forest is a college town, but the university moved to Winston-Salem a long time ago, back in 1956. So if you're expecting a Duke or Chapel Hill vibe with students everywhere and a college town energy, that's not really what this is. What you're actually getting is one of the oldest and most established towns in Wake County. Founded in 1832 with a historic downtown that feels authentic instead of manufactured, which is awesome. And honestly, that's the part of what makes Wake Forest different from some of the newer master plan suburbs around the Triangle. It still has roots, it still has character, it actually still feels like a town instead of just endless subdivisions and shopping centers stitched together just for that purpose. Now let's talk honestly about location, because this is where Wake Forest becomes either a perfect fit or a completely wrong fit and could be a disaster for somebody's lifestyle. Wake Forest sits northeast of Raleigh, and while that sounds convenient on a map, the reality depends entirely on where you work and how often you need to move around the Triangle. If your life revolves around North Raleigh, Wake Forest can feel incredibly convenient. If you work remotely or hybrid, it makes even more sense. But if your daily routine pulls you towards the RTP, Durham, Chapel Hill, or even sometimes downtown Raleigh every single day, that commute conversation becomes very real very quick. And this is the part most videos just sugarcoat. Capitol Boulevard is no joke. Anybody who lives here, like us, knows exactly what I'm talking about. Stoplights, congestion, heavy traffic, bottlenecks, mainly during rush hour. And if there's one accident, ooh boy, everything backs up. There have been ongoing discussions for years about improving this corridor, including conversations about tolling portions of it, but as of 2026, nothing major has fully solved the issue yet. So before you fall in love with the beautiful house and the granite countertops and all that land, go drive your commute at 7:30 in the morning. And seriously, that one drive could save you years of frustration, or you might just be okay with it. We tell buyers this constantly because lifestyle and area is first. House is second. This is the mindset that keeps people the happiest long term. Now with that said, there's also a reason Wake Forest keeps climbing on the relocation list, especially with remote workers and people coming from larger metro areas. The Triangle job market is still incredibly strong heading into 2026. The RTP continues to anchor major tech, biotech, pharmaceutical, and healthcare employers from all over the country. And hybrid work has changed everything for towns like Wake Forest. People are no longer choosing neighborhoods strictly based on a 5-day work week in the office. They're prioritizing lifestyle more than ever before. They love bigger lots, more green space, slower pace of life, strong schools, and more breathing room. And Wake Forest checks a lot of those boxes. What surprises a lot of newcomers is how self-sufficient Wake Forest actually feels. A lot of people moving from bigger cities assume they'll constantly need to drive into Raleigh for basic shopping, restaurants, and entertainment. But honestly, you really don't in Wake Forest. The retail growth here over the last several years has exploded. You've got Target, Walmart, Sam's Club, Wegmans, Home Depot, Lowe's, and even more grocery stores and cool shops everywhere. But what makes the town even more interesting is not the chains, it's the local stuff most people overlook. Downtown Wake Forest has this laid-back, small-town energy that honestly feels rare because you can't get this in a lot of the fast-growing parts of the Triangle. On Friday nights, you'll see families walking around, people sitting outside restaurants, going to local events that are happening, and still somehow manage to avoid feeling over-polished or corporate. One of the highlights, Norse Brewing Company has become a real local hangout, and the Renaissance Center hosts concerts, performances, and community events year-round. And Joyner Park is honestly one of the hidden gems that we love of the entire Triangle. And if you haven't been there yet, Joyner Park is that kind of place that makes people fall in love with this area. Open green space, trails, bridges, playgrounds, outdoor concerts during the summer. Then you have community events. It's one of those parks that actually becomes part of people's routines. And here's something a lot of newcomers don't realize. North Carolina in general is an extremely outdoorsy orientated state. People are outside all the time. Walking trails, kayaking, biking, parks, lake days, pool days, it's woven into the lifestyle. And Wake Forest leans heavily into that. Wake Forest has over 15 miles of greenway trails running throughout the community. And the Smith Creek Greenway connects multiple neighborhoods together in a way that makes the town feel more connected than people expect. And Falls Lake is also just minutes away, and that's a huge perk that doesn't get talked about enough. You have boating, paddleboarding, fishing, hiking, camping, and if you enjoy outdoor access, this location quietly delivers in a big way. And honestly, that outdoor lifestyle is one of the reasons so many transplants from places like we were from, California, New York, Florida, and New Jersey, end up feeling comfortable here faster than they even expected. Now let's talk housing, and there's some beautiful ones in Wake Forest. It sits in a real interesting position in the Triangle market. As of 2026, single-family homes are averaging around the mid $500,000 to $600,000 range, which keeps it relatively aligned with Raleigh pricing overall. But the difference is what your money actually feels like here. In many parts of Wake Forest, you can still find homes with larger lots, more spacing between houses, mature trees, which we love, and neighborhoods that feel established instead of packed whoop, 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 right on top of each other. And one thing Wake Forest does better than a lot of the Triangle suburbs is balance. Some towns are almost entirely resale homes. Others are endless new construction. Wake Forest has a much healthier mix. Roughly 65 to 70% are resale and 30 to 35% are new construction, which creates more variety depending on what kind of lifestyle you want. If you love charm, mature landscaping, golf communities, and established neighborhoods, one of them, Heritage in Wake Forest, still remains one of the most recognizable communities in the area. It has its Bob Moore designed golf course, tree-lined streets, and that neighborhood feel. But if you want newer homes and more modern amenities, communities like Holding Village have become extremely popular because they blend walkability, trails, amenities, and newer construction into a more connected suburban lifestyle. And here's something buyers from out of state often miss. Not every Wake Forest neighborhood feels the same. Some areas feel much more connected to North Raleigh. Others feel significantly further out and quieter. That's why getting hyperlocal guidance matters here, which I provide every week to our clients all over the country. And another thing I think newcomers need to understand is that Wake Forest doesn't try to compete with downtown Raleigh energy, and honestly, that's why many people love it. This is not Glenwood South, it's not North Hills. It's not trying to be trendy 24/7. It feels slower, more community orientated, and more family centered. Now, there's still a little bit of that old North Carolina small town warmth here, even with all the growth. People actually wave to each other, and you see kids practicing the rugby in yards all the time. They have community events that actually matter. High school sports are a big deal. Christmas parades, concerts in the park, farmers markets that are awesome, and those things still feel genuine here instead of just staged for social media. But I also want to be transparent because this town is not perfect. Wake Forest has grown incredibly fast, and there are absolutely moments where you can feel the infrastructure still trying to catch up. Certain intersections get congested. Commercial corridors can feel crowded. Some roads simply were not designed for the amount of growth happening right now. And if you're somebody who wants quick access to the airport, Durham, Chapel Hill, or even sometimes the downtown nightlife in Raleigh, several times a week, the distance may eventually just wear on you. That's why I always tell people this: do not choose Wake Forest just because the house looks amazing online, because many of them do. Choose it because the lifestyle actually matches how you want to live. That's the part that matters long term. And honestly, that's where working with somebody who truly understands the triangle can save you from making a very expensive mistake. If you're trying to figure out where you fit in with the Raleigh area, whether that's Wake Forest, Cary, Apex, Clayton, Wendell, or somewhere else entirely, call, text, or email us anytime. That's literally what we do every single week, helping people relocate here and avoid the pitfalls we made ourselves when we moved here from Southern California 8 years ago, sight unseen. So again, our contact info is right here on the screen. And don't forget to grab our free Ultimate Buyer and Seller Relocation Guide that's linked in the description box below. It definitely will help make your move way more frictionless. And I'm curious, if you move to the Triangle tomorrow, would you rather live somewhere with more small town charm and breathing room like Wake Forest, or would you want to be closer to all the action and the faster paced energy of downtown Raleigh? Drop your answer in the comments, because I'd just love to genuinely hear where you choose and why for one of our next videos. Because we make new videos like this every single week about living in Raleigh, the Triangle suburbs, real estate, new construction, schools, commuting, and everything you actually need to know and in between before you're moving here. So thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll catch you on the next one.